Hello, welcome to another episode of Showboys. My name is Mike, and I'm joined by my good friend Nick. How's it going, Nick?
Good, how are you?
Not bad. And we are also joined by some familiar faces. We have Chad. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, man? Pretty good.
And yeah, nice. And also Jordan. What's up?
Hi, Jordo.
Yeah, we just
Welcome back, Jordan.
Thank you.
yes.
It's good to be alive.
We were just discussing it's his first time on a What's Playing, so that'll be fun.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Huge. But yeah, I'm excited for tonight. Got a little bit of a debate to get into. It's been hyped up, and hopefully you are just full of anticipation. Nick's been just really building this up. So
Yeah.
hopefully it lives up to it.
Nick's been acting like it's like an underground cockfight. And
Yeah.
No comment.
Yes. So we're going to be channeling our inner B hero fights tonight. So
Shout
hopefully we do them justice.
Barrow.
But yeah, before we get into the episode, just want to do a quick shout out to our top patrons, Yusuf and Timothy.
Oh,
Thank you guys for your support on Patreon, and anyone else out there listening, if you are interested in how you can support us here at Showboys, you can sign up to become a patron on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/showboyspodcast. If you're watching the video version, the address there on the bottom of the screen, you can sign up for as little, I'll just keep that on the screen, as little as $1 a month. And that would greatly help us out, help us cover costs for, our sites and all that fun stuff. And really just allow us to continue to hopefully produce great content for you guys. But if you're not able to support us on Patreon, that's okay. We just love the fact that you're here listening and commenting along. That also means the world to us. So, yeah, with that out of the way, we're on a What's Playing episode. So, I mean, I feel like it's only right that we maybe talk about... To be fair. No? You guys don't watch Letterkenny?
No, I feel like we talked.
Can't even pronounce it. What is it?
Letterkenny?
No.
Wow, you guys totally killed that bit.
We'll get him next time, Mike.
Maybe we need Bianca. She would have.
Yeah.
She probably, if she was watching,
harmonized
she was
everything.
Yeah, exactly. She's probably like sitting on her couch with trash can, and they're just both like, "To be fair." Anyways, yeah. So let's quickly go over what we've been playing lately, and since it's Jordan's first time on What's Playing, why don't we start with you, Jordan? Have you been playing any games lately?
I have. I've been playing kind of probably the 2 or 3 of the same games I've been playing for many years now. Still playing Overwatch a whole lot. I've gotten back into Smite. I had to kind of take a little break for a while, but I'm getting pretty regular back into it. I've done some pretty good updates I'm back onto. And still playing the new season of Fortnite with my girlfriend's son.
Fortnite,
So,
okay.
It's a good one.
You still playing Overwatch?
Yeah, I play the heck out of Overwatch still.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Is that your pocket of games then? The kind of like arena battle royales? They're all very similar. I haven't played Smite, but it is a battle royale sense.
Smite's basically a third player MOBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's lane based, it's class based with the characters. It's just all third player or third person, and it's I've always liked that game. I will probably get into that later on tonight, but it's a lot of skill shots rather than just like pointing and clicking on a character. That's why I like it more like League of Legends and stuff. No offense.
Like point and click.
There was a really cool game that I don't know if it's still out there, but it's called Paragon, I believe.
Yeah,
that was It was similar. It was kind of like a card, like a deck building third person MOBA.
Oh yeah, because you could add cards to the characters to kind of modify them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually made by Epic also.
Yeah.
And they got rid of it.
Yeah, I played it for a little bit and it was kind of fun, but it was cool to incorporate the I don't know. I mean, some of the characters had guns, so there was like third-person shooter like elements to it with your skill shots too. And I was like, "Oh, this is pretty interesting." So,
Overwatch. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I probably would enjoy Smite as well if I enjoyed Paragon since Smite is still around. It's probably much better.
I think it has some rough updates, but and not to go too far into this my little thing here, but for Hi-Rez who makes Smite, they kind of have a Overwatch team-based shooter called Paladins.
Yeah.
And that kind of took the idea of adding cards to modify your character a little bit, like buff their shields or so cool. they do have that aspect in it, and it's like a high fantasy magical technology type thing.
Yeah, one of our buddies from work used to play Paladins a lot. Remember when Ryan would talk to us about that, Nick?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like there's so many of those games that came out in the past 5 years. So I feel like it's died down a little bit in terms of like new ones. I may be wrong though, and I'm just not current on those.
But those shooters, not too much. But a lot of games have come out and died in the last 5 years. You're not wrong there.
Yeah, those seem to be the survivalists there because I've heard Smite for a long time. Paragon's still kind of hanging out, so. That's cool. What'd you call what would you technically call Overwatch?
It's just like a team-based shooter because they have classes also.
Yeah. It's like a weird combination of, a shooter and almost.
If I had to call it anything, I'd call it genius, honestly. It's one of the best games ever made as far as quality and precision goes. There's very few games where that much chaos can happen and you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because they have like the like character kits like MOBAs. You have like two moves in an ultimate or three like abilities in an ultimate.
And
so
your basic attacks too, obviously.
Yeah. So it's set up very much like a MOBA in that aspect, and you have the different roles. It's a very fun game. I just suck at shooters, so that's kind of why I've shied away from Overwatch.
And Overwatch
also very happy you called them geniuses.
I'm sure they are. And are currently rapists, but
out of context, hot take.
Yeah,
that's died down a little bit, maybe. But Mike, we're Kelly and I we're playing. We're doing no competitive for the next month or two, just to enjoy the Halloween event that goes on. So you have to join in for that.
Oh, interesting.
We're doing just casual quick plays and not being competitive so we can enjoy the events instead of me being like, what are you doing?
Stressing over it. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Chad? Wait, hold on. Ghost.
Yeah, you already know. But before we get to what I'm playing, I want to show off my shirt. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I just want to show how amazing this shirt is.
He said, before we get to it, I want to take off my shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I did that the wrong way. Okay, so it's a Spider-Man shirt. See?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Black and white Spider-Man. And then it's got Japanese kanjis on it. Huh?
Oh, nice.
Man.
Gosh, how cool.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. It's like my two worlds colliding. But yes, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima still.
Instead of web.
So, yeah, I'm might be getting somewhat bored of it, but I made myself kind of a promise that I was going to re-platinum this if I spent the $70 on it again. So I got the third part of the game to go, and I'll get through it and move on with my life. But
we'll see.
That's all you've been playing though?
That's it. Yep.
Wow.
Do you have nightmares from the game or anything ever?
Say it again.
Do you ever have nightmares or dreams about the game? Out of curiosity?
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Nick
Sure. Somewhat. I'm not really a person that really remembers my dreams very often. So maybe.
I only ask that because you could have if you just kind of dive hard into something, even the most simplest thing can become a nightmare.
Right.
in some crazy fashion. So.
We got some comments here from our pal Cozy Contagion. He says, I play Overwatch newly. Smite's dope. And then Biosiv says, I'm assuming he's talking about Overwatch here. It's like Counter-Strike meets Apex Legends.
He's obviously talking about Mario.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Thank you guys for chiming in there. What about yourself, Nick? What have you been playing?
I've been playing Humankind here and there, just kind of trying to find my footing in that game. I keep trying to think about this, and I think Civilization's just been around for so long. I don't remember this point in Civilization's like history where there's just like you have like no idea on how to play the game, because Humankind is just so new, and there's just so many. It's just I just want to like look up sometimes, like, how do I do this? Nothing. And like you can watch other people play it, and there's just nothing really out there because it's so new, and nothing I guess is wrong as long as you win, I guess. So it is fun in the sense that it is kind of open ended right now, and it's just really kind of figuring out what is a good way to play. And they've redone a lot of mechanics that are different than Civ that really make that not, you can't just walk in there and take your strategy from a game like Civ and say, I'm going to do this because this is what works in Civ. It doesn't really allow you to do that very well. So it's grabbing my attention in that sense.
Nice.
Until they just patch it to death, and that no longer happens. They like patch it to boredom.
Right.
Sounds like the internet needs you to be making some Humankind content.
I guess. I mean, it's just not. There's just no wrong way, and I think that's because they also have like a lot of open-ended systems that aren't refined yet. So there's a lot of like cheesy brokenness that you can do in the game too. Not broken, but a game that open-ended as far as like settings and how you set up your game. You can do a lot of interesting things. I'll just kind of leave it at that. But on the console side, though, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Shocking,
I know. And I have had dreams about it because that the action of just like the sword, it's just you just can't get over it. Everything's sexual with Jordan.
Yep. Can't take this guy anywhere.
He's like, and I have been having dreams, wink, about it.
Yeah, wink, wink, of just murdering Mongols.
Wow, jeez. Now let's clip that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Nick's just having dreams of murdering Mongols. What a psychopath.
So I never heard of Humankind. I googled it and it like brought up like CNN.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, I put game behind this.
The one streamer I watched that he streams a lot of Civ 6, but he started streaming Humankind. His first note was like, don't name the hardest difficulty of your game after your game, because then I'm just typing in my YouTube videos Humankind on Humankind. He's like, that's completely stupid. Because like Civilization, it's like Civ 6 on Deity, because that's the hardest difficulty. But theirs is Humankind, and their second hardest is Civilization. I don't know if they're trying to...
relatively new, right? Like
yeah, it came out a month ago.
Yeah, a month ago. That's what I was going to say.
Humankind on Humankind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's XXX. So the games like that, like the scale always like messes with me. How like there's like these giant mountains and then a dude just standing there with a rifle, like just as tall as half the mountain. There's something about the scale like in that.
Well, it's like a board game.
I was just gonna say, but somehow I can play board games with no problem and not complain about it at all. I don't know what it's weird.
They're just like really complex Risk, Yeah. That's all they are.
I play like Age of Empires, Age of Mythology. I've done all those. And I think that's probably why they keep the scale with that. But again, it's completely hypocritical because I can play board games and I'm like, Australia is not this small. This person. I have like 100 cannons and 20 men here, and Australia's full. But so it's completely hypocritical. But there's something about like in video games, it's the aesthetics for me. It's just not there for some weird reason. I don't know.
Just pulling out your ruler, measuring those little men.
Yeah, he's got his protractor.
This is bullshit.
Cozy Contagion says Valheim, son.
I have played a little bit of Valheim, and I'm gearing up to get back into that.
I've updated, have not opened yet, but I'm looking forward to getting back into Valheim and exploring this update. I was talking with our good friend Crossplan, and he said that he got in and beat the final boss that we didn't beat
on our map.
Tinkered around, probably.
Cool.
So
so that means that when we log in, that little map is just going to be. Because they fixed the raid mechanics to where those events happen. Because last time I was on, the little goblin people actually attacked your base and they destroy things.
No,
it makes it partially not fun to just chill and
little
build.
people, Nick.
Just partially not fun.
Yeah, it's just a little not fun.
If you had any idea how long it took me to build lights on that freaking canal, which,
dude, I was just trying to defend the scones, man.
Yeah. Nick posted a tour of the canal. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. And you'll understand my light references that I've made probably about 100 times.
I was just going to say, I think you've made so many references that I'm starting to slightly grasp what it took to build it.
Oh, dude.
Out.
So many hours.
Up in trees or what? Are you actually, or have you like discovered electricity?
No, just coal burning torches.
Just takes them out.
I don't know. Mike's canal references might rival your quiver references.
True.
Well, here, let's be clear on this real quick.
Uh-oh.
My quiver references on the show are very few, if any. Like once or twice I looked because you asked. Okay. And the first episode was just you and I. When I told the like Japanese story about the store and everything, you remember that? That was it. That was the first time I said anything about it on here. So
yeah, you missed that one.
Yeah, you should go back and watch that one because it's quite a story.
I don't know. I feel like there's been probably like 9 quiver references
recently because they fixed it and we've been talking about them fixing it. But prior to that, it was all directed at Sucker Punch.
Yeah, I have made quite a few canal references, that's for sure. But you can see it now because Nick uploaded it to YouTube finally. He's still got to do the before and after, so you can really truly appreciate the amount of insanity that we all suffered from for about a month and a half.
I just remember Crossland going to that stream there and was like, yeah, I don't know. Don't do it, man. And then I just got the pickaxe out, started digging.
Yep.
I really want to see it because I just picture like highway lights just going across the tree.
Almost.
Yeah.
And why don't you pull it up and we'll share it on the stream? Get it ready. Is that all you've been playing lately?
Yeah. I've been I was pretty consistent there on Ghosts just to make very good progress. I think I'm at a good point to where I know I can finish it in a digestible amount of time. There isn't a large part of the content looming over me anymore. I don't think. There's like 1/3 of the map to go, so that scares me. But
yeah. I mean, to be honest, that 1/3 of the map that you have to go has the least amount of content as any of the other parts of the map. So.
I figured as much because I'm basically all the way leveled up. I've done all the extra stuff all the way through, so I'm a full-blown ghost samurai of death.
So good.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Jordan.
No, there's nothing in the gutter. It's just a full. Oh no, there it is. Okay. Okay, there it is.
All right. Well, while you're looking that up, Nick, I've been playing. Since no one asked me. Geez.
Pokemon.
Yeah, we know.
Actually, yeah.
Everyone's been here for the ride.
All right, we're done. No.
I those videos up too.
I did, yeah, all of them. Can we just watch me play Pokemon? No, I'm just kidding. I've actually been playing more than just Pokemon lately. I'm proud of myself, and I feel the need to share. But first, I did hit Master Rank in Pokemon Unite last week, so I'm excited about that. Got that out of the way. I can say now I'm one of the very best that maybe there ever was, other than the people who are above me on the Masters ladder. But I'm getting closer. So that's been happening. Nick's throwing up the tour of the canal here on the screen as I talk. So if you're watching the live stream or checking out the video, you'll get to see it. If you're just listening to the audio later, come watch the video or check out the Valheim clip itself. So I hit Masters in Unite, which is cool. I was streaming a Nuzlocke run of Heart Gold and died, so that's over. It didn't last very long. I got
What
killed.
is that exactly?
So it's like a player-made rules to increase the challenge of a Pokemon game, and the basic rules are
any Pokemon game.
Yeah, you can do it for any Pokemon game. The basic rules are you can only catch the first Pokemon that you run into in a specific, like in the area that you're in.
You run and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And if any of your Pokemon die, they're like dead, and you either have to release them or throw them in your PC and you can't use them anymore. So it kind of like makes it a little bit difficult, right? Because once your Pokemon's dead, he's dead. And you nickname all of your Pokemon to kind of like create a bond there. So you like, you're not just playing with Totodile, you're playing with Thomas, and then you're like, I actually like Thomas. And then when Thomas dies, a single tear rolls down your cheeks. You're like, oh my gosh, my starter Pokemon's dead. So it's interesting. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm going to do it again because I only made it to like the second gym, so not very far. But outside of those Pokemon games, I bought Darkest Dungeon on Steam for like $3, and that game's been super fun. I've streamed it a couple times, and that's probably going to be the game I'm going to be streaming now. But yeah,
it's only single player, right?
Yeah,
I'm thinking of Endless Dungeon. It's multiplayer. Sorry.
Yeah, it's really cool though. It's turn-based roguelike
kind too.
RPG. It's very, very cool, very stressful, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. The art style for that game is
I was
really,
just going to
really
say
nice.
that.
It looks really cool. But basically, you like recruit people to your party, and then dungeon crawl and
get them killed.
Exactly, when they die, they're dead. You just keep recruiting bodies into your party. It's pretty fun. And then I got into my first city builder, and that is Timberborn, where I'm building a city for beavers, and it's super fun. But yeah, check out this canal. Like,
it was impressive.
Yeah. Did you see the lighting?
I do.
There's so many lights.
Why does the character have a flashlight?
It's like a mining helmet.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't. Is it like a rune then?
Yeah,
like a magical rune? Okay.
I treat
that doesn't make it better. Like, why does he have a flashlight at all?
Strapped to his face.
Yes, it's very advanced Viking.
And if you notice, so like when you start up a new world, obviously it's day 1, and if at the beginning of the video it says day 872. So I forget how long the day and night cycles are, but that's how long someone has been logged into the server.
The day progresses whenever anyone is on.
Is it a private server or is it open?
This is a private server that you can obviously play with us, but the servers in Valheim, you can only have 10 players like on at once. So it's still kind of small, but 10 players, you could have a lot of fun with 10 players.
You can't have 10 players in this area because of
you can't even have one. Look at how choppy this is. We've done too much like terraforming to this area, and it like
such quality.
Not optimized. And then they did optimize it, but it was like too late. So but this dock here, this pier going out to this lighthouse, I had to like build up the earth from under it because the water was too deep for the posts, and then I had to build the island that the lighthouse is on because there was no land there.
That's amazing,
dude.
So is this just the video that's choppy, or is this what the game looks like when you're playing it?
I was recording this on my desktop, and it's a little choppy sometimes.
This is what the game looks like when you're in the canal. But like anywhere else, it runs really smooth. We changed the land in this particular area so much that the game kind of can't handle it.
They didn't appreciate how much people were going to take the I don't know why, but how much of like a Minecraft kind of hit it was going to be, and the fact that people would spend most of their time just building ridiculous amounts of crap.
Yeah. And we started this pretty early on in its release, so like
they've done updates to the terrain modification system, so it should be, in theory, if we were to start over, it would be a little better.
I never really understand the excuse when these games come out and the companies say, well, we didn't know people were going to build this much. Like, how did you not know that? That's like a Nintendo comment to me.
Yeah.
Like you build a whole game around building. How did you not know people were going to be building in it?
I did not know people would fight so much in Smash Bros.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're like, do you really think some idiot's going to dig a canal across the landmass?
Yeah, maybe that's true.
But
here we are.
It's not even done yet. We're never going to finish it because Nick hates me.
And you can't aim where the cursor anywhere you want to because of the choppiness.
Yes. BioCiv chimes in. He says, Woot, Darkest Dungeon. And Underfunded joins us. He says his trademark yo. I was starting to get worried. We haven't seen that, yet tonight. So thank you for, calming my nerves there, Underfunded. But yeah, there's a little peek of the canal. And that's what I've been playing. So yeah.
It's awesome.
Thanks for sharing, Mike.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for asking, Nick.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
You know what else happened today? Even though we weren't talking about anything that happened today. Something did happen today. And we had a Nintendo Direct. And Chad, I think he we were talking about it before he went live. And he said he had some things he wanted to say about it.
Yeah, so just to fully disclose this, I didn't take any notes on this or anything because I didn't even know what was happening until it was 10 minutes into it.
You are required to take notes about everything you talk about.
I thought about it, but then I thought to myself, it's a Nintendo Direct. There's really not going to be anything meaningful in this at all.
I never even heard of that until now.
Mike, did you watch this whole thing?
I have 9 minutes left. I was watching it before we jumped on.
So did you get to the split? Did you get to any? So you watched some of it at least. This
you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you
so weird.
What I see, what I saw.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so some of the things that I enjoyed that I saw. I'm really looking forward to Mario Party Superstars. Yeah, that looks pretty neat. There's a cool tabletop RPG card game called Voice of Cards, The Isle of Dragon Roars. They really need to work on these titles.
That is their worst. That is their worst.
It's like a paragraph. For a game.
Are these the working titles or like the title?
No, that's the title.
The problem is they never announce them as being working titles. So they are working titles sometimes, but they sound so ridiculous. But if they just said working title at the bottom, nobody would say anything about it. But like Octopath Traveler was Project Octopath Traveler was the name of the game, and they didn't put that in. It's like that's the worst name of a game I've ever heard.
All began with Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Yeah.
That's what started.
Yes. And then they made the anticipated new Nintendo Online announcement, which we reported in our newscast that there were rumors swirling around Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance being added to Nintendo Online, and that was not the announcement unless they threw it in again at the end of the video, which I don't think they did.
No.
But they did announce that there's a new plan that's going to be additional to the already Nintendo Online.
Just to further the argument, why don't you say the name of that? Do you remember the name of that?
Nintendo Online
plus
plan.
Expansion pass.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo Online plus expansion pass.
Yeah, it's they're not good. Not good at naming.
I don't know. Maybe it's like it's a translation issue. Maybe I don't know.
That could be, but I mean,
Sony would have the same issue then.
I mean,
the creativity is probably just leaving. They're just going very literal.
Yeah,
like it's an island of dragons, and you have some cards.
Yeah, and they talk because we have voice actors.
Yeah, this is Nintendo Plus and expansion on top of the already
subscription. Exactly. What they did announce for this new plan, well, they didn't tell you how much it was going to cost. But they did announce that Nintendo 64 games will be available on Nintendo Online Plus expansion plan
For free?
No.
Well, you got to pay for the Plus expansion.
It's the Plus expansion,
but then
bro.
they're free.
Yeah, man.
See?
They're free with the
they're
Plus
free
expansion.
After? Are they free?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're free after you pay the Plus expansion. Then they're free. You know,
Right.
like most things that
Typical,
you pay
like,
for.
like Prime shipping.
Yeah,
Free.
it's free
Sure it is. Sure.
after you pay that $120
$120
every year.
Yeah.
Not only was Nintendo 64 announced, but Sega was also announced.
Little odd. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very
After they're like Nintendo 64, and I was like, yay, Game Boy, and then they're like Sega, and I was like, oh, just real kick in the knackers.
What about Sega?
So
there's
gonna be. Yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say they're gonna have Sega games available on
Sega
Nintendo
Genesis.
Online Plus expansion
Sega Genesis
pass.
games.
Yeah. The cool thing is,
Nintendo's so confusing.
You'll be able to play online, which is neat. And they did make wireless Nintendo 64 and Sega gamepad controllers that are $49.99.
Only if you have Nintendo Online. Let me just put that in there.
You can only buy them if you have Nintendo Online?
Yeah, I don't know if it must only be online, I assume, because how are you going to show proof of that at like GameStop or something?
So basically,
Right.
Nintendo Direct was like, all right, you know what? They're not buying our stuff. Let's go back to the people who are 30 and 40 now and just reel them back in.
Right.
So then after that, they announced some more games and news and stuff. And one of the games that was in just like a quick montage of clips was a game called Surviving the Aftermath, which was another like city builder type game. And now that I learned that I like city builders, I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. Maybe I'll try this out. And then after that, they announced the animated Mario movie that's coming soon.
Yeah, man. In the cast.
Yeah, I was kind of chuckling about this. So there's going to be an animated Mario movie December 21st of 2022 from the Illumination Studio, who brought you Despicable Me. So not a bad studio to handle an animated movie here. And the cast, you ready for this? Mario will be played by Chris Pratt. Princess Peach will be played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who is from Queen's Gambit. Luigi will be played by Charlie Day. Bowser will be played by Jack Black. Toad will be played by Keegan-Michael Key. And
I thought you were gonna say Michael Keaton.
that would be awesome. I love Michael Keaton, dude. And then Donkey Kong will be making an appearance in this movie, and he will be played by Seth Rogen.
Such an obscure cast, right? Like I'm kind of into Jack Black as Bowser. I think that's
that's gonna be hilarious.
I mean, really, when you look at the cast, it's weird, but I think it's probably gonna be pretty funny.
Yeah. And I told my wife when I was filling up my water about this, and she's like, oh, great. And I was like, actually, an animated Mario movie might actually be cool because it's animated, not like weird early 90s like live action with like the creepy looking Koopas and whatever they were trying to do there. I don't know.
So I really think that'll probably kick off like a Nintendo universe. You know, they might do
I
like
hope
a Zelda movie and
the
have a crossover.
NCU.
Mm-hmm.
The NCU. Like
I didn't catch that. That's funny.
But yeah, that's where I stopped because I looked at the clock and I was like, oh wow, it's 8:55. I should probably get ready for this podcast. So what happened after that, Chad?
Yeah, I mean they announced like ActRaiser, which is like a remake of ActRaiser. I can't remember the name of it. Bayonetta 3, which I didn't care a lot about. Splatoon 3, which was the most awkward trailer for a game I've ever seen in my life because the ending, if you guys, when we're done here, go watch the ending to the Splatoon thing because it's priceless. It shows you how weird that company is.
Yeah, I plan on finishing watching the direct for sure.
Yeah, but they're like, and we have one more trailer, and it was Bayonetta 3. I'm like, where's Zelda?
Yeah,
I would have liked another Zelda trailer, maybe, or something
or just
meaningful.
close with the Mario movie, right?
Yeah, right.
Or I don't know. There's some pretty big Pokemon games literally about to come out. Why don't you talk about Brilliant, Diamond, Pearl, Shiny, whatever those remakes are, and then Arceus.
Yeah, but at the same time, had they done that, I would have been complaining that those games are coming out in a month. Why are we talking about them on a Nintendo Direct?
True. At least Arceus, right? Because that one, there's still so much kind of like up in the air about that game, and it's coming out.
That comes out in a month,
January.
Oh, okay.
So that one
worried.
would. I really want to see more about that game because I'm super hyped about Arceus. It's like
it's like a feudal Japan Pokemon, right?
Yeah, it's in this early Sinnoh region, and it's like Breath of the Wild but Pokemon, and the stuff that they have shown so far is really, really, really cool.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like
you just say
reason,
Pokemon. I already spent my money on it.
I feel like the reason they're not talking about it is because it's going to go very wrong, but we'll see.
Right.
Yeah,
I'll stay hopeful.
I had a lot of things like that could go wrong just going through my head, actually.
Yeah.
You blasphemers.
Is it gonna be online? Do you know that, or do you don't?
I don't think so.
No. If it was an online game, it would be a train wreck at launch, guaranteed. A Nintendo online game would be.
I mean,
what are they gonna do with the Pokemon? Like, are they gonna use them for war?
No,
Let's go back to the most violent.
Where did they go
area.
wrong?
So
stop using it for war.
This region is like there's barely any people that live there, and you're kind of sent there to research Pokemon because it's before like Pokemon and humans became like friends or whatever.
So you're like going to an island with cannibals on it and Pokemon type of thing.
Yeah.
Cannibal tribes and Pokemon.
And let's see. So we got some comments. Underfunded says, "Sorry, I'm late. It's okay. I forgive you." Same. I was late, so I don't know what you were saming. And then he says, "I've been wondering how they are going to do rare Pokemon." That's a good question because Pokemon are just going to kind of be roaming around, kind of like how they do in Sword and Shield when you go into the wild area or anywhere. They're just kind of like walking around.
Just Monster Hunter Pokemon Edition.
Yeah,
pretty much. And then like will spawns be random? See, I'm not sure about that. One thing that I did see in one of their videos is the wild Pokemon that you do run into, you can like sneak up on them and just like throw your ball third person style. Like you're not going to go into a menu, select ball, and then it's going to automatically do it. Like you got to aim a reticle and throw the ball, which is neat. But the Pokemon can damage you as the human, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, enough about Pokemon because I could go on.
I did miss a game that they announced, and this one. So it's I don't know if you guys remember Final Fantasy Tactics. It's a Final Fantasy Tactics like game. Looks really, really good. Artwork looks really awesome in it, and it's called Project Triangle Strategy.
Oh yes, I remember hearing that because I was typing, and then I was like, Triangle Strategy.
Yeah.
What is
everything
going on?
I need to know about that game.
My 6-year-old could have come up with a better name.
Right.
Wow. Triangle, circle, square. Oh, that's PlayStation.
Those are the sequels.
Yeah,
exactly. That game did look pretty cool, though.
It did, we should use stones or gems. Like, no, Pokemon did it. Like, damn it. Shapes. Yes.
Yeah, Nintendo. They've definitely done some curious.
They don't care though about that.
People still buy it.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. They're a toy company and they make toys for people that like their toys. They're not a gaming company anymore.
That's kind of a sad statement.
But true. It's true though.
Dang.
I mean, some of the news also was like Dying Light is gonna come to Switch.
Yeah, and what are these cloud things? Cloud version. What's that mean? You can't download it?
Probably because the Switch can't handle it, I would assume. Yeah.
So you got to stream it on, whatever.
It's like
Valheim. The video we saw was on Switch, right?
Shockingly, the Switch does run a little better than that choppy video. No, the games that, I mean, you just gotta, because the Switch is my only console now. Right. I game on my PC, but the only console I own is a Switch, and mainly because of its portability and the fact that I can play like kid games with my daughters who are now starting to be old enough to play games.
Right. Yeah, local games are great on it, especially in the local indie games.
Yeah, and like the portability is amazing. Like I love the fact that I can play all my games in handheld or hook it up on the TV. It's great. And I do like Pokemon games, so I was like, chance to play Pokemon games on my TV. I've been literally dreaming about that since I was like 10. Right. So, but like you have to know what you're getting into, right? Yeah. You're not going to get, a Ghosts or a Last of Us or anything like that. You have to know you're getting same Nintendo games that you got in like 1992, but just like slightly better graphics. And I mean it like slightly better graphics from 1994.
Yeah, very
Nintendo
slightly.
64 had a Pokemon game. It's
Snap.
You might have had a couple. Snap.
Stadium was cool.
Stadium was on there. That's right. But they also had like one where you go around taking pictures of Pokemon.
Yeah, that's Snap.
Yeah, it's Snap.
Snap.
Yeah.
Okay.
They made a new version of Snap for the Switch.
Okay.
Because why would they not create any new idea? That all they do is just rinse and repeat.
Right.
But Pokemon Unite.
Call of Duty's like.
Yeah. But I mean that's a little different though, because that's like you can be competitive, right? So like, but like, there's like 42 Mario games. Just like, can we try to innovate a little bit?
They changed one thing about him.
One time he looked like paper.
Yes. The other time he looked like wool, or no, that was Yoshi. Yoshi's Wally Wool, or what? I don't know. One of the stupid Nintendo titles.
Yeah. Speaking of stupid Nintendo naming things, one of the boards in the Mario Party Superstars is Woody Woods. Biosiv says, Mike, I thought you had a PS4 at least. I used to. Many moons
trying
ago.
To borrow mine.
Yep. Now I'm trying to borrow Chad's or Nick's, whoever wants to give it to me first.
I feel like we should just push that back to next year when the remaster comes out.
Sounds good, because we already kind of
and then you can play it on your PC.
Did it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we saw that coming. We're playing out the rest of the year, and I was like, Mike, you're not going to play friggin'.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking, I'm not probably going to finish it at this rate either.
Right.
Because as soon as I finish
Ghost.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, no, as soon as Tsushima is done, I'm going to be playing
Battlefield.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If it ever releases, that is.
Hey, they pushed it back just
a releases in 2042. They told you already.
Yeah.
Which is scary, because that's not too far away. That's
right.
Wait, are we talking about Battlefield or New World? I'm not sure.
Someone asked them on their Twitter, and I posted that in Discord. They were like, what time does the game come out on the 28th? And they were like, yes, it comes out September 28th.
Oh, no. Just sorry, I knocked my UI that all my stuff's plugged in off its stand.
Oh, deal.
Amazon Game
New World.
Hard at
That's
work
supposed to come out in 5 days. We'll see if it actually happens.
Yes. What time does it come out? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
It comes out that day. Good job.
Yeah. Yes. Good. But yeah, so that's the Nintendo Direct. There were some games that I was excited about, but again, like, I know what I'm getting into. I'm just using it as a nostalgia machine at this point. And we'll use the PC for the more fun stuff. Well, let's be real. It's got to go on sale for like $5 for me to get it. So
yeah, right.
Yeah. And when you say PC for more fun stuff, you mean breeding beavers?
Yes, dude. Timberborn's so fun.
I'm glad you picked up one of the many like simulation survival builders, and you're just like, oh, it's so awesome, and it's just the one about beavers.
Yeah. I just making a dam, bro. Just building dams all over the place.
Yeah, we get it. Canals and dams. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why I like it so much,
the
Nick.
the connections. Wow.
It's just like the subconscious thing that I can't get away from narrow bodies of water.
Just wait till you get into like the weird like concept playthroughs where like I'm gonna do this one really weird thing, like try to get as many homeless and or unemployed beavers as possible, but still have like a functioning economy.
It's so funny when they're homeless because they just yeah. They all just the beavers.
Or California 2042. I don't know.
Man. But yeah, that's the Nintendo Direct. If you were excited about it, let us know. But if you're like Jordan and Chad and hate Nintendo, you probably weren't excited about it.
I don't hate Nintendo. It's just it's just weird right now.
Yeah.
I feel like people our age aren't really on Nintendo's level anymore. You know what I mean? Like they just left. We kind of left them in the dust growing up.
It's confusing. Like
It
don't.
is.
So confusing.
I don't know. It's confusing. Yeah, that's just the best way to put it. They're very confused. Like their formats for what you can and can't do. Playing online is weird.
I don't understand what's confusing about project title triangle. Circle
Project Triangle. Yeah. I mean, just the
what is
fact
it?
that
Triangle
they released...
strategy? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
So
It's Project Triangle Strategy. So the name of the game will probably be Triangle Strategy, which is absolutely horrendous of how beautiful the game looks. But anything you need to know about Nintendo is just their new reveal of the new Switch, which is like 1080, which is like they're like super excited to announce this thing, and it's 1080. You're like, okay, sweet.
We always joke around about them being like 2 generations behind.
Right.
But hey, what are you gonna do? We do have an announcement real quick. I wish we had a breaking news, soundbite we could play.
I do have that. Want me to load it up?
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Well, this is awkward now, but hopefully the anticipation is just building up inside of you, and you're just
Nick's uploading the Happy Happy Joy Joy song from Ren and Stimpy.
Dude, Ren and Stimpy.
About the Rickroll.
You watched Ren and Stimpy like as an adult. That show's so crazy.
That's great. You look like a guy that appreciates rubber nipples. One of the best episodes ever. The horse has like 2 rubber nipples on his like nipples and 1 on his head and 2 on his hooves.
That show's so funny, dude.
He's a rubber nipple salesman. The horse is like, go on.
It's gonna work.
And you wonder why we are the way we are. Breaking news. Dude, that was awesome.
I thought that was you. I was like,
that was me.
On cue.
Was
I know that was
me.
You, but like,
Jordan, through the magic of recording audio. Breaking news.
It looks like you, Mike. Oh my god. Oh wait.
What is this sorcery? Yeah. Hey, wait. Can we have it one more time? Because I'm now prepared. Breaking news. All right. Now that we got your attention, breaking news.
You're riding a horse. Trying to announce it.
Yeah.
Are you like making the sounds of the horse running?
Yeah. I mean, my kids are really into Spirit lately, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, galloping horses is Mike's breaking news announcement. Yeah. He's Paul Revere.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad that was the clip. Breaking news.
We're never gonna get it because he can't stop laughing.
I know. And if anyone's left here watching or listening after that, we've been creating quite a bit of gaming content lately here at Showboys, and we wanted to unburden you non-game lovers with maybe frequent notifications from our YouTube channel. Maybe once every night, sometimes twice every night, we would be streaming or uploading video games. And, you know, we started to feel a little bad that maybe we were just blowing up your notification section on YouTube. So we decided to create a new channel called Showboys Gaming that's going to be 100% solely focused on streaming video games and uploading our video game videos. So I believe Nick has posted it in all of the chats on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you could head on over to our Showboys Gaming YouTube channel and subscribe, that would be lovely. And that's where you'll be able to catch all of our streams and video uploads, like Nick's Civ videos or my Unite video. Hopefully we'll be adding, a plural to that. Yeah. Let's go ahead.
Showboys Gaming. Check it out.
Go subscribe. Por favor.
Game Boys was thinking.
Game Boys.
Yeah, we didn't want to confuse anyone.
Rock the boat.
Didn't want to get murdered by Nintendo.
We hate Nintendo, but check out our new show, Game Boys.
Yeah.
Poor Nintendo, like their searches no longer show up at the top of anything. They're just completely gone. They're like, we get no sales anymore. Why? You little assholes.
But yeah, that's what you had to sit through 5 sound bites for. So yeah. Go sub, guys. But yeah, what do we got coming up here, Nick? This is kind of your baby, so why don't you lead us in?
My baby, jeez. Way to make it weird, Mike.
Yes,
these are my children.
Cradle us.
These are my children. So back on episode 51, and it's also a clip. We had Chad tell us his theory with evidence as to why gaming isn't any more expensive. It's actually cheaper than it's ever been to be video games, at least, right? The price of video games. Now, that obviously can get very nuanced and deep as to whether we're talking about gaming as a whole, the cost of gaming, right? Or are we just buying games these days? And Jordan saw the clip. He didn't watch the episode, apparently. As soon as I released the clip, he's like, I take issue with this. And he raised his finger and everything.
I was wearing a white curly wig and
object. And I think fundamentally, Jordan just doesn't agree with that stance, Chad. So we're going to have to hash this out in a very pleasant discussion, which I think will unearth a lot of messy nuance that won't ever answer this question. You guys will have to agree to disagree, or Chad's right and Jordan, you're wrong, or Chad, you might be wrong, regardless of your evidence, your photographic evidence.
He did have photographic evidence,
and Jordan's just going to bury you.
Pictures of bodies, yes.
So as I think we all check out that clip, we all know kind of Chad's stance here. But
we
Chad,
just get like a quick summary from Chad.
Yeah, quick summary from you, Chad. What is your opening stance here?
Yeah,
to defend yourself.
So basically, just to really break it down nice and easy, and I can't wait to hear the argument because I just don't see one anywhere. But not to throw shade anywhere, but so basically, games with inflation are not only cheaper than they've ever been, but pretty significantly cheaper than they've ever been really in our lifetime or since games came out. And I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think like 64 games were like $100 to $125 back then, buying power. With inflation today, that would be the price of those games. And then I can't remember what the other ones were, but none of them were really close.
What game was like $100?
Well, they were like $50, but like today, they'd be like 100.
Yeah, let me clarify. So more. Okay, I do need to know before we start this argument. You did listen to the episode, or you just?
I did not. I did not. No.
Okay. All right. So this might be
so real quick. So if I say anything that you obviously went over during that, I apologize.
Okay.
It's not intentional.
So he woke up from his nap in the room and it was just like, I object.
Yeah, just saw the
that's just Jordan's like natural like response to anything. He's like, no, I disagree.
So let me okay, I'll break it down a little bit further. So I found a Toys R Us ad from 1996 that showed sales prices of games, and games in 1996 were ranging from $49 to $54. In 2021, that would be $83 to $91. And then the 64, which is actually the more expensive one, there's games ranging from $60 with Mario 64 and Pilot Wings. And then Mortal Kombat Trilogy was $74, and that's what I say, 100 and 125 today with inflation. So very baseline of this argument is that the money's just not close. That's the very baseline. But so go ahead.
Let me ask you. Aren't some games $70, $80, $90 at launch though now?
No.
Like legendary editions.
Legendary, yeah. If legendary.
Because I'll give you an example. Borderlands 3 launched at $60. It went up to $80 and includes the first like 2 or 3 expansions. And those are part of the game. You need those to continue playing the game. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to bring that into accountability with it.
Right.
And and this is and maybe I just don't understand a lot how things work anymore, but to me, I see that as a very obvious cash grab because you need that to get the full experience of the game. You need that to continue playing with your friends who are into it. Right. Gaming is way more a la carte than it's ever been. You know what I mean? We can agree on that, obviously.
Yeah.
There's way more ways to do it, way more ways to game. You can game on refrigerators now because of the Android-based systems that are on there.
Right.
Let me give you an example. Like this is really simple. Let's say I'm a father of 3. Okay. And 19. What year did GoldenEye come out? 93? Something like that. Anyway, GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm a father of 3, and my kids want to get into gaming. And are you looking it up? Because I would want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. It's driving me crazy. It's in the back of my mind. I'm a father of 3. My 3 kids want to play a game altogether, a shooter. Okay. So explain to me everything I need to play GoldenEye with my kids.
So, you're going to need, today you're talking?
No, I mean like just in 93.
In 93?
Yeah,
you're going to need 3 controllers and a console and a copy of GoldenEye.
1997.
97.
Dang.
That seems so late, doesn't it?
Yeah, that does sound very late. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So you'll need 4 controllers and a copy of the game.
And in the console, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
Let's say me and my 3 kids want to play Battlefield 2042 together. What do I need?
You need multiple consoles, multiple games.
Yes. And you also need
depending on
whatever subscription service you're playing on.
Right, correct.
And obviously internet because there's no offline gaming anymore. You factor all those in just in that simple example. I mean, I can give examples to where it's probably cheaper nowadays. My stance, for instance, is that it's not a blanket statement saying it's just cheaper. I think the question is cheaper for who? Because you go through that example, you need multiple consoles, you need multiple copies of the games, you need multiple Xbox Lives or PlayStation Plus, whatever it is these days, or Nintendo crazy expansion plus. You know, you factor these in. And there's a lot of things that go into it, and there's multiple layers on the economic stance where it goes to. I mean, you look at you're going to have multiple screens going, multiple consoles going. It's obviously going to impact the power bill depending how much you're playing. Also,
yeah,
it was much easier and simplified back in the 90s.
But it was. I agree with you. It was, but it's because that technology was not even there.
Sure,
and you're going. You're going strictly.
Was it cheaper then versus now?
Right.
And you're just to launch the game, you're looking at anywhere from $900, maybe $1,200 worth of consoles alone.
Yeah, if you're going for a multiplayer game, I agree with you 100%.
Sure. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it's if we go into single player games, let's just I mean, there's no offline games, right? So you require internet, right? You require the
not
on Nintendo.
So
not on
Nintendo, right?
Yeah, not on Nintendo.
Thankfully, we're still 2 generations behind.
there are some obscure single player games that require internet for whatever godforsaken reason. Like the Need for Speed 2015, you had to have internet to even play it.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
I think it was a weird fad around the time that Xbox tried to do the whole required internet connection. I feel like that around that time, I feel like that's when those games kind of did spring up a little bit to where like, oh, you have to have a
Diablo 3,
connection.
for instance. I was so pissed about Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That I think that was a short stint, and the industry's gotten past that.
Sure.
By now.
But so back to the argument real quick though. We look at the gaming community. Do you think the gaming community is primarily just single player? People play single player games, or people that do competitive gaming or online gaming or anything like that?
I think it's a mixture of everything. Yeah.
Do you think it'd be like a 50-50 thing?
Yeah, probably.
I guess that'd be an interesting argument on itself. But
yeah,
you go along with that aspect. I mean, it's obviously not cheaper if you're doing that, right? And there's some cases where, my girlfriend, we have an Xbox Series S. It's a $300 console. We bought Overwatch for $20 way back when, and it's super cheap. She's playing, she's online gaming for $320 up front, and plus the small portion of what the internet is, and roughly $5 to $6 for Xbox Gold. That's super cheap,
right?
And that's great. It's great. It's possible to do that, but there's a lot of people and there's a lot of situations where it's not just I'm going to play single player games, and that's the thing. My argument is against the blanket statement that it's cheaper. I think there are ways to play cheaper, and I think the majority of ways aren't, though.
I feel like there's much more ways to play cheaper than there is to play more expensive. If you want to play the newest Battlefield with everybody in the house, then yeah, of course it's going to be more expensive. But Fortnite's free, Roblox is free. There's tons of free games. There's tons of $5 games. So that stuff really didn't happen until they were like deeply discounted back in the 90s. No game ever launched under 10, under 20 probably.
Well, they started once free market and open source tech hit the gaming series, and you see a bunch of indie games on Steam and everything, right. Which again plays to your argument, which is what I was going to say. Also, is obviously if there's free market, there's high competition, and that leads to competitive pricing, and that allows the little guy to get in and to undercut the AAA titles, which is great. It's awesome. But you look at Steam libraries, it's really rare that someone's not going to be on like Humble Bundle paying monthly for it and getting all these games monthly. To Fortnite, let's just pretend, let's just say, okay, let's take Battlefield out of the equation. Dad wants to play the game with his 3 kids. They want to play Fortnite. It's not unusual to see multiple gamers in the same house playing Fortnite, especially with its crossplay compatibility.
Right.
So you're paying, let's say one of them's on PC, 2 are on Xboxes, and one's on, like, the youngest is on an iPad, or not an iPad because I can't do that on there. But let's say you're on an Android device playing it. You have to think about some of these people are still going to be paying their subscriptions monthly. Some of these people are actually paying for the skin bundles monthly for Fortnite. Some people
those are options. Let's keep that in mind, right?
Yeah, they're
not required.
Options.
Okay.
Yeah, they're absolutely options, but those are also, like, in the gaming we call those dots, damage over time. So you slowly so you just simply you pay $10 here, $15 there. It's if you can point to a person who casually plays Fortnite who hasn't just kept spending money like every other month there, I'd be interested to see that. You're going to find it hard pressed, and most fathers are probably would be really surprised if they looked at their kids' skin collection in Fortnite and saw how much they spent. That goes along with Roblox and even Minecraft these days. Minecraft's non-Java version has an open marketplace where you actually buy things, not constantly, but it has the option to buy constantly. In the 90s, you're one and done. You have the full game on there. There's no expansions coming out. There's nothing else to fish you in. Back then, even some companies now, depending on what technology is at, most of these companies made their money on the accessories, controllers,
right.
rumble packs, memory packs, all this stuff. Now they obviously know, well, we can just bait them with just temptation, because skins in games are kind of a social status also for people. They want them. They bother their parents for it. It's the gaming industry isn't as big as it is and as wide as it is because they're making less money, especially at the bottom end of profit.
Might I interject
Sure.
a few things? Skins and cosmetics are how I've spent over $500 on League
Jesus
of Legends.
God.
Over like 10 years.
Over
bro.
6 years.
6 years.
$100
a year.
Yeah, I mean, and
Ooh, that
over
sounds
those,
bad.
but over those 6 years, that's the only game I played. I never bought like, I wasn't buying like the latest AAA game every other month. Which, if you do that for a year alone, you're at over a couple $100.
Andromeda stripped me of like $80 real quick. That was
Andromeda. I don't know what that is.
Mass Effect.
It's probably better that way.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. We have a few comments, and then I did have another point, but I'll have to remember it while we're doing these comments. Underfunded said it's for data transfer to the server, talking about games being required to have online. They can't get player data if the game is offline only. Still weird though for single player games. Like, what do they need?
Diablo.
Biosiv says I prefer single player game once in a while. It's a multiplayer game. Yeah, to that point, that is a huge can of worms that we could dig into some other time, maybe, and it would be very interesting to actually dig into that. The popularity of single player versus multiplayer competitive stuff, because I know a handful of people on both sides, people that only play competitive stuff and people that only play single player stuff. So I'd love to dive into that sometime.
Real quick to Biosave. I don't know how Biosave does it or whatever, but a lot of streamers, for instance, also they prefer playing single player games. It's a little less stress when you're streaming.
Right.
Getting killed and getting camped and spawn killed over and over and over again. It's just not. Yeah. So if I was streaming, I'd be in the same boat, and that could possibly create the habit for me of liking single player games more also.
Yeah. That makes sense. Underfunded Scientist says microtransactions are damage over time. That should be a t-shirt and a clip. And I would have to agree. Maybe we found Jordan's shirt idea there, Nick.
Oh yeah, true.
Stefan Kime, my dude.
What?
How's it going, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. He says, yep, I don't even want to know how many skins my son has in Fortnite.
It sounds terrifying, doesn't it? It's like Leatherface.
Yeah. Collecting skins.
There's actually a Christmas song that says, I want to see Christmas through your eyes. And I just picture Leatherface just like.
Yeah, that song means.
It's his first foray into music writing. Underfunded Scientist then says, I agree, but that's why. So, man, I really don't remember what else I was going to say.
Well, let me.
Oh, I do remember.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, because it'll slip away. I think all of the points that Jordan made, very valid and good points. But I think in order to level the playing field in the gap of time and technology, that we're having, because we're 30 years now from the 90s and a lot has happened. We've had crazy advancements in technology. I think maybe we should target entry point to gaming, right? What's going to get you the baseline experience from a game? So we're talking consoles and game prices, right? Yeah. I mean, do you think that's exactly? Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cheap. Well, actually not really, because iPhones are like $1,200. So
yeah. I was trying to actually argue for a cheaper point of that.
Right. But I mean, because obviously if we're going to get into the weeds, like there's hardly any couch co-op games anymore. So if you want to play online with people from your family, you're going to need 2 Xboxes or 2 PS5s or whatever. But I think
that's like such a nuanced section of gaming, right? People that what I mean.
Let's
like
say
maybe for Jordan, because you play mostly multiplayer, if not all multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole industry built around multiplayer gaming. There's a competitive sports based around multiplayer gaming. So it's not I wouldn't consider it a nuance. I would consider, I mean, multiplayer and competitive gaming is kind of it's a phenomenon that goes farther than I think it even should. You know, it's you have stadiums selling out, like whatever, not stadiums, but like you have giant arenas selling out for League of Legends championships and people looking in all over the world for it. It's happening to Overwatch. It's happening to multiple games. They're trying to get this into the Olympics.
Yes.
Doesn't belong there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
colleges are giving out scholarships now.
That's what I'm saying. So this is where it's going. Like I don't consider it a nuance to do that. I think it's a cultural shift. It's people are going to mainly be multiplayer gaming over single player gaming. It's just the long term.
I could see that, but also maybe
Call of Duty isn't like huge because of its campaign.
True. But I mean, let's look at this. Let's look at this debate though, from like Jordan buying. But then again, because I'm trying to limit this to like one person A, person B. Like, what's it cost? Person A being in '93, person B being in 2021. But at the same time, like in our life, you know, the point in our lives right now, like we all have families. So using that example, like Jordan he plays Xbox with Kelly, you know, that's 2 Xboxes, 2 Overwatches. So like my limit I was trying to put on this debate, like I can't even do it myself because in all of our situations, they're all so different, right?
Yeah, it's a huge blanket, you know, and that's kind of why my stance was against the blanket statement of it's just, you know, cheap as in general. I actually have 3 Xboxes around me and I'm sitting at a gaming computer.
Dang, dude.
Okay, so
what's it like being a millionaire?
Yeah, right.
For real. Or not. Poor.
I was.
Yeah, you were.
Let me make my argument against the DLC and whatever patches and that stuff. So if that's a positive towards today, you have to pay for DLC and all that stuff, yada yada yada. It can also be used as a negative for back in the day. If you bought a $60, and we talked about it on here before, if you bought a $60 game that was broken. Sorry, bro. You're out of luck. It's broken.
Are you kidding?
It's never gonna happen. You know, just blowing it. Yeah, there you go. I meant like gameplay wise, like something in the game was broken. You know,
Oddjob, for instance, and GoldenEye. Broken.
Right. Yeah. So if you're gonna use it for a positive now, I think you need to use it as, you know, a negative back then as well. So while And there are plenty of games, including Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, that a lot of, and even Fortnite unloads a ton of free content after launch. Grand Theft Auto 5
Overwatch
built an entire multiplayer thing basically for free. That none of their stuff was paid.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. So yeah, I want to be very clear about that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. That's why I used the example of a $300 Xbox Series S with a $20 copy of Overwatch on sale. It definitely, the scenarios exist. They're not as uncommon or as common as you think. There's lots of people that prefer different variations of gaming, and some of those variations are way more expensive than it was back in the 90s or whatever you want to call it,
because those options weren't even really there.
Absolutely.
I mean, Golden, you know what I mean? Multiplayer back then was, it was like GoldenEye was the big hit in the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say it's I'm not using it as a positive now. I want to lose. Like, this is a debate that I want to lose. I want you to convince me that this is cheaper and that I'm saving money and that this is way better. For the record with that. But the idea that it didn't exist back then, and you're correct, and that's also why it was cheaper. And right. That's what gives that time an opportunity to be cheaper. When you have an a la carte situation, I think when you go to a buffet, it's a la carte. There's tons of things in front of you. You're like, I'm gonna eat pretty light, and then you come back with like a fucking giant bun, fried chicken, slice of ham, questionable gravy. You're like, crap. When all these options are in front of me, I'm overeating, and that's exactly what the market has done, and that's what AAA companies have evolved into. Because most indie games, they don't. I mean, you could look at high res with Smite, and there's microtransactions, but it's hard to call them even like a small gaming company. They're not really indie. They're not like AAA either. But AAA companies they're finding a way to shift and compete with all these indie games where you can buy for $20 and just kind of be one and done. Look at Darkest Dungeon, right? They're
or
trying
even
to
Valheim. That was $20. They made
Valheim,
like
yeah,
$5 million in like
Phasmophobia is another phenomenon that came out of that. But you look at Call of Duty was the first one to figure out that like crap, we need something that's free and has longevity that can create residual revenue.
Right.
They came out with Warzone. I think they did in a piss poor manner, attaching it to another Call of Duty. It should just be a standalone game, and I'm really curious what they're going to do with the next one. If they're going to, whatever. But and that information might be out there. I just with this type of conversation, Chad, like I dive into it as far as my like intellectual, levels want to dive into my intellectual curiosity, I guess. So that's why I didn't really watch that. I kind of like having the open conversation because it makes it easier just to bounce off what we're saying. And I don't want to be like what you said at timestamp 728. It's so much easier like this, and
right.
It's why I do it like this. But I don't dive like super heavy into it. But I kind of coming at this from just a logical standpoint where it's just not everyone is set up the same as far as the number of people in the family and what those people are interested in. And I'm sure in many ways, that's why I gave the example. I keep going back to the example of my girlfriend. $300 console, $20 game, just pays for a small portion of internet goes to that and Xbox Live. Whereas back in the day, I had the first PlayStation, N64, all this stuff, and I was buying all these games way more expensive than what she's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's just different levels to dive into. And but the a la carte process that these companies are doing, it gives them the opportunity for you to spend so much more than you were used to. And my biggest point goes back to then is that you bought the games you were usually interested in unless you were a complete collector or just completely spoiled rotten. And you had that cap. There weren't the expansions that you had to keep playing with people. You bought the new game or you didn't, and you were in the same multi-tap or you weren't. And
I mean, I still kind of get that experience today, to be honest with you, because I play mostly single player games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I play mostly first party PlayStation games, and none of those games have any kind of loot box system or microtransactions or anything like that.
Yeah, and man, I salute you.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That if you're gonna, so my argument is just based on the game itself. The base model of the game is cheaper than it's ever been by a significant amount, while development costs for the games have skyrocketed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and gaming's not the only thing that happens with most tech devices are sold at a loss.
Right.
So it's not. I mean, it's not. What I'm trying to say is it's not like a crazy thing. But no. If we were talking just in that simple standpoint, I would be on your side 100%. Absolutely, I'd be on your side 100%. It's just not like reality. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, depending on who you are, I guess. Because for me, it's totally reality.
When I say reality,
I don't pay a cent over more than $70 when I buy a game ever.
When I say reality, I mean it's experience makes sense. Yeah, if I said experience, when I say reality, I mean it exists. It's part of reality. And it's part of what pulls people into certain games.
We have the best debate going on about the most case by case scenario thing that there probably could possibly be.
Yeah, and in all fairness, I one thing when Nick came in with this idea, I was like, this is a crazy case by case scenario. I did say that.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's what makes it a super fun discussion because it's very open ended, and I think it like I agree with
Superman
Chad
versus Goku,
Yeah, and I mean, I think for the most part, I agree with Chad because just like the structure of my gaming and like my household lends itself to there is no runaway yet train of like skin purchases for my child or anything like that. Or, my wife doesn't play video games, so we don't have to have two consoles to do all that. So that argument lends itself more to my situation versus like yours. You're saying you're sitting around 3 Xboxes. You had to purchase those at some point.
Or steal.
Or steal.
Or borrow for a very long amount of time.
But I mean, I also think about this discussion also with like the actual games themselves being separate from the equipment to play them, because to me those are two separate like streams of purchasing, because the console or the computer, they're multi-purpose this day and age, whereas back in the day they were singular purpose. Like you bought a PlayStation 1, right? There's only one thing you're doing on that, maybe watching movies, but you had, put the disc in, all that jazz. But this day and age, Blu-ray players are gone. I don't know very many people that are like, oh, I need to go buy the latest Blu-ray media console player. You go buy an Xbox.
I actually need one because my Xboxes don't have Blu-ray players.
Because Xbox sucks.
Yeah, no lie.
Your Xbox doesn't have a Blu-ray?
No, the S series. They don't actually have the.
You don't have a disc drive, period.
You don't have disc drive, thank you.
Okay,
so they gave you the option to get a cheaper console with less features. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a free-to-play game is there for you to not spend money, and you can keep playing it for free forever.
Yeah.
But you don't end up spending $500 on it.
But
here
on a Blu-ray player, because you need one all of a sudden.
The problem here's the thing with the free-to-play thing. It's brilliant, but it's the biggest risk in the industry because not many of them take off like Fortnite or Roblox or anything like that. Most of them crash and burn pretty quickly. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Fortnite and Roblox are kind of the. I
feel like it's blasphemy to not to use Fortnite and Roblox instead of like Dota and League of Legends that have been around for like a decade.
But here's the biggest thing. Open source technology like the Unity engine and everything just is put out there for people to make. When you have more people creating games, there's going to be more of a failure rate. It's just part of the. I could hop on Unity and spit out like a pinball machine game in like a week. It's probably not going to make a whole lot of money. You'll see it as a free-to-play game with small microtransactions, and then it'll fall to the 9 millionth spot on Steam.
Yeah.
But I started playing Warframe and I beta tested Smite back in 2013, and it wasn't until the late 2000s where these free-to-play games were getting developed and they were announced, and that market started taking off at all. I remember going to GameStops and I play Smite, and they're like, "Oh, it's a free-to-play game." I was like a heretic. It's like, they hated that model. I loved it because for me, when I see a free-to-play game, I see longevity. I don't see a short, term flavor of the month or flavor of the 6-month game like Call of Duty, where I'm going to spend, 80 or 90 hours unlocking all these skins and weapons, and then a new one's going to come out in 12 months, and all the work I have is gone. I'm going to see something I can invest money into and always go back to play because it's for the longevity, always support it.
Yeah, the game as a service thing.
If it gets its support.
If
it doesn't crash and burn 2 months after release, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. We need to take a break because we have a bunch of comments. So Stefan says we make him earn the money before he buys crap on there now, which is wise. Underfunded says, I mean, PC gaming, bottom line, you're talking like $1,200. Yeah, roundabouts after you get your monitor and keyboard, mouse, build your tower.
No, the tower should be around $1,200.
Dang.
There's a debate right there. So what's it like being a millionaire, Jordan?
I don't have that. I do. I'm in IT, so like I just play in that like little safe gray area, and like I'll just upgrade this later and stuff. So.
Right.
But if I was building one for someone that like needed like they needed something they didn't have to change out for a while, it'd be around $1,200.
Yeah.
Very true.
Showboys podcast says we're just gonna skip that. Underfunded pointed out that when he's Underfunded searched his name on Google, and the first thing that popped up was our interview with him about his game he made. So that's pretty cool. Biosiv says, I used to buy every Call of Duty specifically for the campaign, all the way up to Ghost.
I will admit that I feel like Call of Duty's campaigns are very underappreciated. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. Modern Warfare 2's got one of the best single player
Warfare
campaigns
2.
ever.
Modern Warfare 2 was a fun single player game. I do have to say it was also probably the best Call of Duty in general. The Underslung grenade launcher was so much fun. I'm sorry.
Then Underfunded says Epic Games scrapped a project called Paragon to be able to focus more on free Fortnite content and gave away all the Paragon assets to game devs for free, which I don't know if you were on in time, but we actually did touch on Paragon there for a second at the beginning of the episode. So it's funny that you brought it up again. Biosiv says, I mean, the original argument is video games are cheaper than they've ever been. The concept of a console and a single video game. Which, yeah, I think that kind of was. And if we're going from that standpoint, Mike buying a console and a video game in 1995 versus Mike buying a console and a video game in 2021, I think the proof is in the pudding that Chad would have to be correct on this one. Biosiv also says, Jordan, is the Series S worth it, or should I hold out for the X?
I really like the S, honestly.
I'm mostly digital, if that helps. So I think that helps your answer that you just said there, right?
I think that mostly depends on what kind of catalog of games that you have, Biosiv, that you can play, disc games.
Oh yeah, if you
like, are we talking
already.
like you're mostly digital? What's that mean? You have like
what's the
50
games
games
having a disc
or
anymore? Like seriously, you install like a 50 gig disc and it's like, oh, thanks for doing that. Now here's a 90 gig download for you to catch up to everybody else.
right.
It's so dumb.
It's a very good point. And then Underfunded says, dude, Warframe is so good. And nice. Yeah, I missed that, talking about Paragon. So we're all caught up on comments. Honestly, I mean, how you guys feeling about I should ask Nick, how are you feeling about the debate up to this point?
So real quick, before you jump into, I just want to say one more thing. So like, if we talked about board games and if they were cheaper or not, I mean, you could say, oh no, I could buy a deck of cards. It's way cheaper. You know, this is way cheaper right now than it, it was way back when. It's like, the reality is there's a ton of things to do. And if you're a board gamer, you're not just playing with a deck of cards. If you are a gamer, you can't ignore the fact that the video game ecosystem is as large as it is. It's weird to be that much of a gamer and ignore that large of the portion of the ecosystem. Like, so if we went back into the original argument, again, I was giving examples as to how it can be super cheap right now and cheaper than even back then. I'm with you 100% on that. If that was the argument, I would have agreed with Chad right off the bat. But it's like that's just not the reality that the video game ecosystem's in right now. So it's a very vanilla way to look at where gaming has come and where it is. And I mean, again, you think all these companies are as big as they are right now and still going because everyone's just playing single player games? It's not the case.
I think PlayStation makes a significant amount of money on single player games. Yes, so it's a significant amount of money.
Okay, so let's maybe some games at launch, but a lot of the single player games do crash pretty hard. You look at Battlefield 5. It was a bunch of virtue signaling garbage, crash and burned.
That was a bad game, though.
You what?
That was a bad game, though.
It's an awful game, yeah.
Oh, no one liked it even before it was out. But
yeah,
I don't. I just, I mean, maybe PlayStation kind of goes down that route a little bit, but I mean, you look at, which again, that would even be. You can't tell me there's not competitive gamers on PlayStation. Obviously, there's still a portion of it. So if we give like a small percentage to that, let's give 20%, maybe 30% of all gamers into that. Well, that's fine. You still have. You think most PC gamers are single player gamers? I don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
How so?
Just I have a feeling.
Okay.
I think it's like
my heart just feels right.
I feel like it has to be that's the world we're in, right? I'm with you, Jordan. I'm basically almost exclusively play multiplayer games. But I think it's
like Chad said earlier, it's 50-50. I think it's pretty evenly split.
Which is hilarious. There's 4 people on this show and it's evenly split 50-50.
So it's, so at the beginning of the argument, it's like you say gaming now is cheaper. And then I say for who? And then you say for me. And I'm like, well, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not out to say that gaming is just completely, way more expensive now across the board. Maybe it is if we dive down hard into it, but my argument is just a blanket statement of it's just simply not cheaper for everybody. It's more accessible, but more accessible does not mean cheaper.
So why is it not more cheaper for you?
I mean, I gave you an example. And
just the multiple consoles and all that stuff.
Oh, just if playing multiplayer with your family in a lot of cases. I mean, you can't do it and have it be cheaper. There's nothing cheaper than having one console and having 4 controllers plugged into it.
Okay, but the problem that I have with that argument is there's nothing to compare it to back then.
Well, the comparison.
What's the debate then?
The debate is simply the price of a video game is cheaper than it's ever been. That's it.
I thought the debate was gaming is cheaper than it's ever been.
That might have been the title, but my argument was, and that would be the problem of you just reading the title and not listening to the actual argument I made.
Breaking news. We have a giant misunderstanding in our episode.
Don't believe what you see.
Yes.
That's the discussion, though, is the discussion that leads from that. But the comparison, though, that does exist about like multiplayer back in the 90s or in the 2000s is LAN parties. Like you would have friends, like up to 10 people showing up to someone's house with 10 gaming rigs, all, connecting up everything together. And like that was your multiplayer. And that arguably is pretty expensive. It's just like you having 3 Xbox in your room. There were situations back then where you needed 4, 6 consoles if everybody was going to.
LAN parties are generally they're based on the participant. It's usually that person bought their own computer, brings it over.
Because you're not supplying the console or computer for your friends. Yeah, geez, wow, Nick.
Well, no, I mean, nice. I mean, someone bought that. Like a single, like everyone bought their own console.
Yeah, collective value of it sure is skyrocketed for sure. You do it. That's like, it's a whole other layer of what ifs, though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive what if, but that's there.
Yeah.
Underfunded says, according to Google, 56% play multiplayer, 54% play single player.
So we got 110% people playing. Really way to turn it up there.
Yeah, dog. And then Stefan says you also have to look at how many people the studios have or had working for them. Are there more people working on these modern games than there were on a game 20 plus years ago?
Well, it's interesting that you brought that up. Let's go.
Some games that have like one developer, that's it.
Yeah, but let's go. I want to talk just briefly about development costs for some games. Okay.
Boring. I'm
just briefly. Just briefly.
Just teasing.
So I'm going to start. In 1988 was Super Mario 3, very small NES game. You probably haven't heard of it.
Never.
So total cost to develop that game in 1998 was $25 million. In today's money, that's $56 million. Keep that in mind. Put pins in all these first 3 here. Okay. Mortal Kombat 2, follow up to a hugely popular fighting game. Okay. $60 million in 1993. In today's money, it's $107 million. Final Fantasy VII, one of the smallest Final Fantasy games ever made. That's a joke. 1997. Okay.
Thanks for clearing that up for
80
us.
million. You know what? I looked, I wanted to make like a more in-depth thing of this, and I was gonna go like how long it takes to beat each game. So I was like looking through that. The game takes like 60 hours to beat, which is like absurd for a game of that time frame. But anyway, Final Fantasy VII, 80 million it took to make, 129 million today. Let's go to Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, 2009. So you can pull the pins out now. Just remember those from up there. Development costs for Modern Warfare 2 were $250 million. Today, that's $302 million. Star Wars: The Old Republic, pretty popular PC game. Would you agree?
I'm sorry, which one was it?
The Old Republic. The
Knights or the MMO?
Oh,
yeah. The MMO.
The MMO? I mean,
moderately
popular.
Okay. Well, that's. I mean, it's really irrelevant. It's really irrelevant.
Okay.
So 200 million is how much it took. That's 230 million. Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2013, $265 million to make. That's 294 today. And then the Whopper, which is Red Dead Redemption 2, single player game until like a couple months ago, $200 million. Or I'm sorry, $300 million. And that's $309 million today. So the prices of games to develop and market, and those prices are marketing and development added together. They're not even close. They're not even close. Games are like 3 times as expensive to make today, and we're still paying well under what we were paying back then.
That's so insane that like 300 million to make a game blows my mind.
So where are they? Why aren't they out of business then? Where are they making their money?
Everybody's
Drugs.
buying their games. I'm serious. Red Dead Redemption 2 is number 12 on the top selling games of all time.
How many copies? I need to hear.
38 million.
Wow. That's a lot of games.
Number one is Minecraft, 238 million. Number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 5, 150 million. Number 3 is Tetris.
50 of those have been Chad personally.
Number 3 is Tetris. Wow, that's
number
crazy.
3
I didn't know that.
Tetris.
You have to buy Tetris.
100 million. And number 4.
Where do you even buy it at?
Wait,
yeah,
I'm
right.
confused.
Everywhere.
Tetris
Yeah.
boy. That's crazy.
Wii Sports is number 4, which is really odd because it was packaged with the Wii. But
that doesn't. Yeah,
82
weird.
million.
I think they count the Wii purchases then.
Possibly. I mean,
So we're counting
sure.
them being turned in and resold. You know,
It's just like when music artists they give away their album with the concert tickets, so they count those all as like album sales for everyone that went to the.
Like, man, we're doing great.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out that only 2 of the top 10 best-selling games of all time are multiplayer games. Just throwing that out there.
Oh,
What are they?
He just read them off.
PUBG,
It's garbage.
which is free, right?
no, it's like $30 or something like that.
Is it? Okay. And what was the other one? I guess I kind of counted Grand Theft Auto 5 as an online game too.
Yeah, I definitely.
So maybe only 1.
Yeah. Well, online game hasn't been around nearly as long as single player games have either. So you got to give that some aspect.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's okay. Yeah, it's far as development costs, sure.
Yeah, but all these games that are on this list, they're not old games for the most part. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018, I think.
Yeah. That's fine.
So it's not like my point was, it's not like they're only in the top 10 because they've been out for 30 years or something.
Oh yeah. No, I get you there. I hear you well there. I mean, there's more gamers than ever. It makes way more sense.
True.
Yeah. So the end of this is like, gaming is cheaper if you're a single player gamer, but it's more expensive if you're a multiplayer gamer.
Yeah.
Getting hosed.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. There is no winner. We're all winners.
Well, right.
Actually, we're probably all losers, actually, when you think about it.
Yeah, we're definitely all losers. But
yeah, but
I was talking about the debate.
Still.
Double losers.
I lean into the point, though, on a lot of these most popular, like Fortnite, free. Just play for free. It's your problem if you have to spend money on that.
That's a great point because you don't
have
to spend the money other than your internet or like, Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus.
Like there's a game with unlimited amounts of hours of content that you don't have to pay any money for.
Okay. Yeah.
So
again, show me a Fortnite player that does that at all, though. It's the idea, though, is again, it's an a la carte situation. And it's human nature to simply do that. The reality is nobody does that. Very few, at least, do that. It's not a reality.
I think the numbers would be shocking if we were to find the numbers on that of people that play it strictly.
If you do that, if you are willing to do that, I would follow that up with how long have they continued to play the game? Because if you play the game for a week and don't spend money, you can't just be like, I played the game and just never spent any money on it.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I guess you could do some number crunching against how many people they have the numbers on people who've actively played. They also have their numbers on how many cosmetic purchases
Again,
as far as like
they're
revenue.
not going. Fortnite has a giant merchandise base. It's a giant game.
Yeah,
they're not doing this because they gave away a game for free.
No, for sure. But
that's what I'm saying. It's not the reality is that people are spending the money in there because it's part of gaming. It's having certain skins in certain games or certain accomplishments in games. It's a lot like fashion in school. That's Hollister and Abercrombie. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of kids just you want to have that identity online now more so than in person. Everything's going digital. You know that currency, property, everything's going digital.
Yeah.
And honestly, so are trends. And trending, you can't be a streamer. You can't stream games without having a lot of money into your streaming system to have not only your system but around you. It's a giant franchise, and single player has its piece in that, obviously, but it's just not it. That's not everything.
44%.
Apparently, it's
underfunding
54.
No, he corrected it. It's 44%. It was supposed to be 44.
Shaking my head.
56 multiplayer, 44 single player, but still, that's pretty close. We were.
I was going to say those percentages didn't line up, but
yeah,
I was surprised.
I
was surprised, but again, I'm not going to be like bullshit.
Yeah.
So out of the 50 top selling games of all time, 4 of them are known multiplayer games, and what I mean by that is like The Last of Us had a multiplayer section, but nobody played The Last of Us for the multiplayer section. It was great. I'm not saying that it wasn't good. I'm not saying.
Last of Us multiplayer was
it was
great.
It was intense.
Not a single one of them is multiplayer only.
Can we just throw this out there? The Last of Us multiplayer was built perfectly for esports. Just years too soon.
Yep.
That would be the perfect game for esports.
I just can't see it in like a stadium, but
the pacing would be like it's great for spectating. You know, it's kind of slower pace. Anyways, we do have a lot of comments to get through. So we have one here from BioCiv. I play Warzone and I haven't paid $1 for skins and the like. How long have you played?
I can actually see that happening in Warzone. Honestly, I love it. It goes to my point. I only played it for a couple of weeks and never spent money.
BioCiv also said I beat Final Fantasy VII in 29 hours without rushing, just chill.
Wow, interesting.
Underfunded Scientist said, fun fact, the majority of Minecraft downloads are on mobile, even though it's not the newest, but one of the newer available platforms.
Right.
That's largely in terms of those, because most kids' first experience on a device is a mobile device, and they want to play Minecraft.
Yeah. And then he says, like, Bed Wars online in Minecraft is a mini game, and it's huge.
I keep hearing Bed Wars. Like it's like the bed actually is like a spawn zone, and you have to like kill them enough to get to their spawn zone and destroy it, almost like a push game, I think. But I heard it's only like 6v6 or 8v8. I want like 24v24 and just like.
And that's in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Just chopping.
A bunch of arrows flying.
I love seeing my nephew play Minecraft because it is just like the sword action. It just looks like a foam sword. Yeah, it's chopping.
I have the foam sword.
Again, what's like the millionaire Jordan? But yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap up the debate here, and I'm going to make the call that nobody won because it's so dependent on the scenario. To Chad's point, if you're just buying a console and buying a game, you can't deny that it is cheaper. But also to Jordan's point, that's just not the world we live in now. Though 44% of gamers live in that world, the majority, though it's not much more, live in the world of the multiplayer gaming experience, and that can really run up there. But on top of both of those points, it's just in my own personal example, in the last month, I've bought, let's see, 1, 2,
you've been big spending,
3, 4, 5, 6,
Pokemon,
maybe like 7 games I've purchased, and I've spent
Holy
like
crap.
$40 total.
Okay.
So less
like-
than a quarter of a price of a game in
Yeah.
1990.
Granted, a lot of the games I bought were pretty old. Like I bought the re-release of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, $750.
How many times have you bought that game?
Twice.
Couch
Nickelodeon's.
Co-op also, by the way.
What'd you say?
Couch Co-op, Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, dude, that
Couch
game
Co-op.
rules. I love that game. I played it so much on PS3 or whatever, PS4, whatever it came out on first. Nickelodeon Kart Racers for the kid, that was $750. Old game. Yeah, well, it's garbage. It's no Mario Kart, let me tell you that.
And that's the most expensive one, probably.
Yeah. I bought Guacamelee 1 and 2, the complete editions, for like $10 total. I bought an indie game, Die for Valhalla, for like $2. I bought Darkest Hour for like $3. The most money I spent on a game was Timberborn. That was like $20. But like, there's you gotta
feed the beavers.
I gotta look it up. Keep going, Mike. Keep going.
It's great, dude. It really is cool. They have different factions of beavers that you can play as. It's so great.
This sounds
Silverback
so horrendous.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I actually found Timbertown on the US, but
no, Timberborn, not Timbertown. Come on. I named my first town Beaverton, by the way, and it was great.
That probably
so original.
Except, all my beavers died of dehydration and starvation in my first dry season, or not first dry season. It was probably like my second or third, but still. Anyways, not the greatest beaver overlord at the moment, but I'm working on it. But all that to say, the game that I've played the most recently is Pokemon Unite, and it's completely free. So like, there are avenues of playing games so incredibly ridiculously cheap these days. It's just crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you sit on this, Nick? We know where Chad and Jordan sit.
Yeah,
but where do you sit?
And maybe we need to like switch you and I, or switch them, so like we're left and right side of the screen. But no, you have to be on that side. You have to switch them.
Timberborn looks good. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah,
dude, it's really fun.
It's legit. I still think, and maybe this will have to be a return topic, but I think even taking Chad's base argument and elevating it to the cost of gaming, right? I still sit in the camp that says it is cheaper, more accessible today than it ever has been. Regardless of your situation, I still say everyone's personal situation. If they want to spend $1,000 on skins, that's not a blanket statement to the entire culture. So the cost of gaming, for like flat out, is simply cheaper. People's personal preference to buy 20 makeup kits when they only need one, that's their issue. It's like saying the cost of makeup today, for anyone, would be, it's more expensive these days because I gotta have all 50 palettes of eyeliner. It's like, no, you don't actually. You don't need that.
I'm sure you just ride like a little like bicycle to work every day too. Oh, you work from home now, but I'm sure you rode like a bicycle, not a car, right? I mean,
Mosey's on down to the basement.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you don't understand this. Like, I could live in a log cabin right now. It'd be way cheaper and have a giant garden. It'd be way cheaper of a lifestyle than living in the modern world. It's like,
well, no, that's not the equivalent here. Is like, we can both play the same game. I will spend far less. You will spend far more because you simply think that's what you want to do. We can both play Fortnite. You're going to spend $50 a day on skins. I'm going to spend none. We're playing the same game at the end of the day.
Yeah. One's having a much more vanilla experience with the situation than the other one. Also,
is that a problem?
No, it isn't a problem. But again, if you look at anyone playing the game, if you want to stream the game, if you want to do whatever with the game, it's just not the reality that user is going to be just using the base skin, the base glider, and everything like that. It's just not reality.
Okay, well,
but it's an option, is the point, right? I can.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
I might hate it, but I can do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, to entertain that, okay, I'm going to spend some money on cosmetics because I want a different glider. So I can buy one cool glider. I can buy a cool skin. It's not the vanilla. I'm now rocking a purchase skin, a purchase glider. I am no longer vanilla. We are now both in the non-vanilla version of the game.
So unless you can $10.
Yeah. So unless you can rock like all 50 of your gliders and all 20 of your skins at the same time, I don't see how that stands.
So yeah, I mean, again, if you go to the very basis of making it as cheap as possible,
well, it's not even that.
Yeah, well, it's not.
It's
Isn't that what you just did?
No. I'm just saying, like, to enjoy the game non-vanilla, we've spent two different amounts.
I'm rewinding back to the vanilla to play the very basis of everything just like that. I mean, you can go through a supermarket and just eat the free samples the whole time, be full and leave. It's people that do that.
That's not grocery shopping, though. That's going there and just getting the free samples.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not leaving with a cart full of groceries. At the end of the day, when I'm done playing Fortnite, I've left with a cart full of groceries called 4 hours game time, 4 wins.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So again, if you, I said this at the beginning of the argument, if you just simply, if you clean cut it like that, are there cheaper options than ever? Yeah. But is gaming as a whole that? It is not that. That isn't gaming as a whole.
I feel like on this side of the screen, it might be.
Maybe.
Here, I got it. Let me tell you.
In order to say that, though, you have to say there's no multiplayer gaming. There's no.
No, I'm gonna tell you, if I play a game that requires me to buy a skin, it's gonna last about 3 days, and I'm gonna be bored, and I'm gonna go buy a game that gives me all the skins I want for free, because it's built into the game.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish it was that way. Yeah, I totally wish it was that way. And that's exactly why it used to all be that way. And that's exactly why it made things cheaper back then.
And it can be that way for you, Jordan.
Could be. I think we need to get the needle out like we did with Mike.
Yeah, it could be for me. But I mean, I'm trying to speak as broader as I could for anyone in different situations.
Right, true.
It's just it's not a again, my stance has never been it's simply more expensive today than ever. I've tried to give examples as to how cheap it can be, but good.
I just feel like if you were arguing, let's say you were arguing that the skins gave you some sort of major boost in the game where you had to have them.
So real quick,
that argument.
I don't want to get too hung up on skins. I'm talking about just purchasable options, just microtransactions.
Yeah. Okay, microtransactions. Period. If those gave you some sort of major boost, which in some games they do, and gamers despise it with a passion.
Sure, pay to win. Sure.
Yeah. So if that
mobile,
I lost my train of thought now.
Here, you're trying to say if that has like a giant impact on the gaming, that like it would be a necessity rather than an option.
Yeah. It's an irrelevant thing to me. It's like saying, well, if you want to call somebody today, you have to have a cell phone and a cell phone plan, and you don't just have the phone on the wall and a $30 phone bill, and
just part of how things are. Sure.
Yeah.
It's just like adding internet into the idea of online gaming. It is. I mean, you can portion it out, but you don't need certain speeds. You could lower that and save some if you weren't online gaming. It does have an effect on your power, especially if you have 3 Xboxes running at the same time.
At least your heating bill's cheaper.
I mean, between the Xboxes and the Christmas trees, I don't know how
there's so many screens and consoles that it gives you cancer and then cures it immediately because the radiation is just this endless cycle.
You need a smart fridge with a screen on it for the stream, so we can see like Minecraft playing in the background there.
Yes. So my final rebuttal against Jordan, even though I'm not in this debate, is
you're on his camp. You can't just switch teams like that.
What I would say to you, Jordan, is but Jack Nicholson.
Oh God.
Okay, that was terrible because only like 5 people are going to understand.
I was going to say inside joke. No, I don't even understand it. So
if you're listening, you know who you are. I don't think that person's listening, but the people directly involved in the biggest controversy in all debate shows ever might be listening, and you know who
I now know.
Yeah, That was pretty bad. Not what you said, but just the outcome.
We got some comments to get through here. So Biosif says, I went back on my 360 and just re-downloaded it for free. Scott Pilgrim. Well, sir, if you've never played it before, you're in for a treat. Very fun game. Underfunded says, Timberborn is sick.
Has everyone played this but me?
Actually, I'm the only one that plays it, but everyone's like, it's a cool game.
I found it and I was like, this looks cool. And Mike's like, wow, I might like it. I'm like, you might. And then here we are.
And then Underfunded's like, oh yeah, that is cool. I played the beta. Stefan says, I remember playing FIFA on the Xbox 360 when it first came out of your house, Mike. Slide tackle champion right there, or right here. Yes.
Did I work with him?
Stefan didn't. Stefan, did you work at Fred? Of course, Jordan knows him. Yeah, we were all in a band together.
I'm pretty sure he did work at Fred Martin at one point. Did he?
Did you work at Fred Martin, Stefan? We definitely worked together at Pizza Hut. Maybe you're just recalling playing FIFA at my house with Stefan there. But yeah, FIFA at Mike's house. Here's our answer. I did.
God, knew it.
It was so like.
My house was yes, I did. The FIFA, hotspot in Hartville, Mike Courtney's house. Stefan also says, cough, cough, Call of Duty. I'm thinking he's talking about pay to win. I'm not sure. I don't play Call of Duty. Biosiv says, Pokemon Unite, free to play. You can pay to get ahead faster, but you can grind and get all the same accessories.
You got loot boxes?
This is no, but you can hold. Each Pokemon you take into battle, you can hold 3 items, and you can upgrade the items to marginally increase the stats of the items you're holding. The way you upgrade those items is by a currency you earn in game. Then you buy item upgraders. You upgrade the items. Well, you can buy the item upgraders with real money. So baseline, it does look like pay to win, at the very least, pay to get ahead. However, there's been testing side by side with somebody with a fully upgraded item and a not like a level 1 item. And like, for example, the attack damage item, the fully upgraded item will kill you in 4 extra auto attacks as compared to a level 1 item. So if you're playing at top tier gameplay, super competitive in like a league, yes, 4 auto attacks will make a huge difference, but for the regular player, they're not gonna notice a difference in 4 auto attacks.
So how does that affect you as a master?
It doesn't. I've never paid to upgrade any of my items. I made it to master.
So if you run into other masters that did pay to upgrade, they're
being so sarcastic right now. So how does it affect you being like the grand champion?
Coming from experience as a Pokemon master myself.
Exactly.
No, it's like games like that are skill expressive. So like if you can outplay somebody, yes, you can't outplay an auto attack because you can't dodge an auto attack. But
I clicked harder.
I mean,
click the shit out of it.
Yeah, that's right, man. You should see how I mashed that A button. But they give you enough ways to earn massive amounts of these item upgraders. Like the people that were complaining about that literally just wanted something to complain about. It's a non-issue. Underfunded said, I played the trial pre-release, talking about Timberborn. He also says, but they gave away stuff to be able to upgrade for free. He's talking about Unite. Yeah, they did with the latest update with the mobile release. They gave away 3 item upgraders that lets you automatically upgrade an item fully, which is pretty sweet. So like, again, you can't complain. They're giving this stuff away for free. But yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, this was a really fun conversation, but it's just so dependent on the scenarios. And we're all 4 very stubborn people and are kind of stuck in our ways. Well, I should say those 3 are. I'm kind of in the middle because I can see on both sides. But, Jordan is convinced that it is not cheaper. And, Nick and Chad are just on the other side of that coin.
Both sides make cheaper.
I mean, well,
Yes.
He's made that clear.
Okay, so at the end of the day, cheaper wins then, because Jordan agrees in some aspect, right?
It's the blanket statement he does not agree with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You agree with the argument that a video game price today is cheaper than it is back then. You just don't agree with blanking that over the entire industry.
I don't agree with that the entire industry of gaming is cheaper than it used to be. The average price of creating a video game is cheaper, yes.
But a single-player game back then to a single-player game today is cheaper.
Walking into Walmart, going to the video game case.
That's not all gaming, though. You have to understand that.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's
44% of gaming.
Oh my God.
Precisely.
Precisely. According to Google.
Yeah, because Google's never wrong.
I appreciate Google.
So now that we got that out of the way, let me say one thing before we get into our Discord Answer the Boys replies.
These are some good replies.
They were. I got two things to say before we get into those. First, Tom and Brian from Be Hero Fights. I don't know how you guys do this every week because I am a non-confrontational person, and just sitting here listening to them debate made me highly uncomfortable, and I felt very awkward, and I was just like, why are mommy and daddy fighting? So I don't know how you guys do it every week, but it was really fun once I got over the uncomfortableness of.
So you can see it.
Yes. And two, I know Nick probably will be embarrassed of me saying this, but I'm going to say it because his feelings matter to me, guys. Okay. Nick posted the Answer the Boys question on Monday. And every time it's just a funny observation I had to point out because we both were laughing about it. But whenever Nick posts the Answer the Boys topic, nobody ever answers it.
Crickets.
Every time that I do, people reply. And it was hilarious because Nick posted the topic on the 20th. A couple of days ago, and then earlier today I was like, hey, just a reminder, we're having the episode tonight, so get your thoughts in, and like reply.
He sends me a screenshot of like 2 or 3 people actively typing.
Yeah, it's just like,
soon as he typed it. Like, oh.
So come on, guys, you guys show Nick some love here.
Nope.
2 or 3 people actively typing. It's amazing.
Yes, it was really funny.
So good.
But anyways, Nick posed the question. So we ask you, what do you think? Are video games cheaper than ever? Are they actually more expensive? Help us uncover the truth and let us know your thoughts on this divisive topic. And we got some replies. The first from Underfunded Scientist. He says, I think games are more expensive. At least it feels that way. I remember when they passed that law to help that a game couldn't be over $60 with some few exceptions to help out. But even 60 felt like too much. Like I'm out here asking for $2 for Glow Home and it's optional. Which, by the way, Underfunded, if you don't know, is an indie game developer and has a game out called Glow Home.
Check it out.
Paying for it is entirely optional. You can totally download it for free. But I suggest that you throw him a few bones if you do download the game. It's really cool. And, help support these creators for sure. But yeah, I forgot about that they passed a law to keep the price.
I didn't even know about that, honestly.
I didn't know about that either,
Rachel's
way more expensive than we
right. True. Rachel's Holiday, an old member of our Discord back from the very start. She says, my argument is that video games are generally about the same. While I find we're paying for fewer games because of Game Pass, the DLC inflates the cost of each game beyond $60. So we have another in Jordan's. So that's 2 on Jordan's side here. Look at that. We posted the link to Underfunded Scientist's Glow Home page where you can download the game Glow Home in our chat. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out right now. The third reply, underfunded scientist says, I remember he was saying with inflation, they were either equally expensive or less expensive in the past, but all inflation has been exceeding the growth of wages. So I feel like that means that they are more expensive now. Maybe they're not more expensive. It's just that people are more poor, which
I would agree with that if it was like $10 more expensive, but it's like $30-$40.
it still kind of brings up a good point.
Especially
I like that
capped
point
by
overall.
law. Jesus. But yeah, I mean, they say that inflation is 60%. It's everything always lags behind by usually close to a decade with stuff like that. If you ask me, it's probably 65, 67, maybe even 70%. That's a whole topic for another discussion, I guess.
Stock boys. Is that even a thing? Stock boys a thing?
So I keep asking them.
And then we have our last reply here from Cozy Contagion. I remember paying $50 for Conker's Bad Fur Day when it released. That was the N64. I feel like today's prices are about the same, maybe a tad higher. The consoles are what cost ridiculous amounts. More to download, install when it comes to brand new games nowadays. I would agree with you, but Chad brought literal photographic evidence
Of console prices as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
I would be heavier.
I'd
be heavier on my side too if this was like 5 or 6 years ago. I think this generation of console releases given much cheaper options, and when the first Xbox One came out, it was $500. It was psychotic.
Yeah. What was the PS3 like? A million?
I can't remember.
600,
it was
I think.
$699, I think.
Yeah,
Xbox
like
Series S is honestly Series
Hang
S
on,
is great for 300.
I have it here somewhere.
You laugh, but I am dead serious. He brought pictures and we put them on the screen.
Yes.
I think
PlayStation 3 was $599.
Yikes!
At launch, which is $772 in case anyone's counting today.
Yeah,
still cheaper than an iPhone.
Yeah, but
not cheaper than a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like also the cultural shift, because obviously there's a lot more gamers. It's just like everyone has a cell phone these days. 10 years ago, everyone did not have a cell phone.
Right.
So there's just so much more of our lives that are baked into all these different elements. Obviously, easier for everyone to download mobile games because everyone has a mobile device to do so. They double as entertainment systems, and so many more people now game. And Jordan's point, like if you have a whole family of gamers, that gets expensive really quick. But also that's just like that cultural shift to where there are a lot more instances where everyone in the household is gaming.
We also remember too, inflation's a natural thing.
Right.
It's supposed to happen with fiat money. It's inflammatory, non-sound, secure of wealth. It's meant to inflate. It's always hard to bring it into arguments because it's a natural. Inflation is just like time. It just progresses. There's no way to stop it.
Yeah, and I also like
unless
the
you
whole
have money.
Yeah, the people are more poor these days. I like that idea. Not to explore that too much now, but also the idea that simultaneously, while all this technology just weaves its way into our lives, where everyone's a gamer now, also everyone simultaneously has this requirement, that social requirement to have a video game console of some sort or a PC game, right? And buy these skins, while simultaneously, wages aren't keeping up. People are arguably more poor. So like those two things work against each other. So definitely the illusion that they are more expensive, or depending on your situation, I guess it could be more expensive, obviously, depending on your situation. Because I think it's pretty hard, no matter how poor you are, you have to have a cell phone. Like I know some people that don't, and it's not because they're poor, they just choose not to.
Are they beavers?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's like, I mean, of course, that's going to squash any of the argument. My argument isn't. Of course, there are people that are going to think that a $70 game is really, really, really expensive, like once a year expensive. But there are a lot of people that don't feel that way, right? So you can't.
Sure.
I mean, we'll
if
be
it's your
here.
hobby, it's
We'll
just
be
another
here for
expense, right?
months discussing that. Like,
Yeah.
to a McDonald's guy, of course, it's more expensive today, but so it's
apples to apples.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah. From the beginning, it's always there's a statement made, and my thing was for who?
Everyone.
It's not true.
well. I think here's the big mix-up we had is that the title is
we were lied to.
Cheaper. Yes, by Mike. Is gaming cheaper? My argument
Smiles
was
and
the
laughs.
game and consoles are cheaper specifically.
Yes. It was all planned.
He's like, he just ends the show. Lies.
Yeah.
Lies. That's true.
But yeah, fun conversation, to say the least. And I think a few things came out of this conversation that we could do entire episodes on. Also, so I don't know. Thanks, guys, for coming on and having this debate. Biosiv says, how much was Conker's Live and Reloaded when it was re-released? That's a straight comparison. Underfunded says, we were lied to. And by the way, Biosiv, I was trying to look up the launch price of Live and Reloaded, and I wasn't able to find it quickly, so I gave up. Underfunded says, we now debate the definition of expensive and how poor people are.
The real depression hits.
Yeah. Speaking of money, you should head over to our Patreon page and give it to us so we're not poor and can afford to play video games. You can find those links. No, you can, for real though, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/showboyspodcast. Yeah, I think we're going to call it here. I declare no winner because it's too ambiguous.
I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah.
It's just for the discussion.
Yeah. It was a fun discussion too.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on and arguing with each other, debating, bringing up great topics or great
making Mike feel uneasy.
Yeah, I'm just like, I hope they like each other.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Right? Sean and I talked the whole time before this. We're like, just stare at Mike the entire time you're talking.
Yeah.
Stare at him.
Plus, this is great because every time that Chad and Jordan are on, they say and think the same thing.
True. Yeah.
Like the one always says the other person's thoughts. Yeah. So this was great to have them on and just completely
shout out episode 50
perspectives. But yeah, that's gonna do it for tonight. What do we got coming up, Nick? Anything?
No, nothing. We have newscasts on Monday. Definitely tune in for that.
This is actually the last episode of Showboys ever.
Yep.
Nothing
55.
Nothing coming. This is a good run.
But the other thing that is upcoming that so many people are excited for, and it's so interesting for me to see how many people are the most excited for the month of October, Spooktober.
Who's excited for that?
It's a ridiculous amount of people. Like that's all. The guy with the fall leaves and the lights behind him there. I'm surprised there aren't pumpkins around your house.
Yeah. Well, it's not a Christmas tree. That's what all the Xboxes are sitting on, pumpkins.
Actually, I have there's Overwatch Halloween skin Funko Pops. There's skulls, black pumpkins. There's a lot of stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Somebody here is our resident Halloween expert.
I get excited this time of the year. It's fun. It's scary. It's spooky. It's a good time.
With that, so we have a lot of fun content for all of October, all focusing on the spookiness, the scariness, and we'll be reviving that theme from last year. It was good fun last year. That was one of Jordan's first episodes, and there's new stuff in the what's watching sphere, and also maybe a little bit of what's playing too.
Yeah.
So get ready for the month of October to be scary.
Maybe
scary
a
Showboys.
Fun returning guest that would be perfectly suited for spooky October season. Breaking news. Yeah. Maybe one of our favorite guests might be returning.
No news at all. Just a maybe. Just a maybe.
I just want the part now. I need to cut off the breaking news.
Yeah.
High hopes.
But yeah, our spooktacular October episodes, they'll be starting next week, even though technically it's still September, but that audio will release in October. So yeah, our Halloween festivities will be kicking off next week. We might actually even do a fun thing. Nick and I were talking about this today. We might recommend a horror movie to each other that we haven't seen yet. So like I'll recommend a horror movie I particularly like to Nick, and he do the same, and then we'll watch it and then we'll discuss. I think it'll be really fun. That might turn into a thing we regularly do. I don't know.
We can't have seen it.
Well, I mean that wouldn't be as good,
I hope you haven't seen the one I'm thinking of.
If this is a message to both of you, actually, Chad, you too. Okay, if someone recommends Serbian film to you, do not watch it.
I've watched plenty of things about Serbian film.
Yeah,
is it scary?
Have you guys seen it?
No.
I kind of want to.
Heralded as one of, if not the most disturbing.
I'm never the same person again.
That's not like. It's not like a mixtape, which if you can go look up what that is. But this is like an actual movie. I have seen, so I watch a lot of disturbing content, iceberg videos and stuff on YouTube, or like things like that. But I forget the name. Oh gosh, I really wish I remembered the name. I'll try to remember the name and send it to you. But there's a movie out there floating around that is some are considering more disturbing than a Serbian film.
I can't do any more. I'm done. I can't.
It made $1,500 in Brazil at the box office. That's crazy.
The fact that there was a box office for a Serbian film is crazy.
It's just funny that it made $1,500. Like, geez.
Yeah. No, we will not be watching a Serbian film. But thank you for the warning, Jordan.
Because of everybody, just don't do it.
Yes, don't do it.
That's what
watch YouTube videos of people talking about watching a Serbian film.
Keep it out of your life.
If you're curious,
keep it out of your life.
Yeah, true. There's some real jacked up stuff in that movie.
Oh yeah, it's one way. To put it.
I'm watching it tonight.
So yeah, with that being said, make sure you hang out. October will be fun month. Go over to Showboys Gaming YouTube page and subscribe if you're interested in our gaming content. Yeah, also go to our Patreon, help us out if you're able to. We would greatly appreciate it. If you're not, thank you so much for tuning into the live stream and watching or listening to this wherever you get your Showboys content. If you like what you heard, please consider subscribing, liking, rating, reviewing, and sharing. We really appreciate you guys. And thank you to those in our Discord who replied to our Answer the Boys topic. We hope to see the rest of you in Discord who aren't in there. Jordan, Chad, you guys have anything you want to plug before we jump off here?
Not really. Stay tuned for October. It's going to be fun. I'm going to find my way in.
Much excited.
What about you, Sir Chadwick? That Strange have anything new recently?
Yeah, That Strange is coming back this week. Thatstrange.net. Stay tuned.
That sounds scary.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. We hope you enjoy our banger of a theme song on the way out. Until then, we'll see you next week. Have a lovely evening.
Mike's gone. Finally. We can really fight now without making him like cry or pee his pants.
It looks like someone took him.
That is true.
Looks like someone came behind him, grabbed him by the back of the head, and just ripped him out of his chair.
Solid plays just looks like signs of violence and a struggle.
Dude,
Actually,
so
Mike, you should just like change like a Michael Myers outfit and just stay back there.
no, dude, that was one of those times where I was like, you know what? I gotta pee real quick. I'll have plenty of time, man. That song's like a minute long, and then you're just like, this is never gonna end.
Next thing you know, your hands on the bathroom wall because it's just not ending.
I had to like be cautious because I was like, oh, my mic's not